calling someplace home. For all things real estate, be home with Bender Realty, 425 25th Street, 423-472-2173, bender-realty.com.
Everyone, good morning. We have a very special interview right now. We are joined by of course, our state chief of economic and community development, Stuart McWheter. Stuart, good morning.
Good morning, Steve. How are you today?
Buddy, I'm doing great, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the last time we saw you here in Cleveland, was that for the SK Foods kickoff, I believe?
Well, it was probably that. It could have been a number of events we've been down there.
You've been there a lot.
So much activity. Yeah, it's been fantastic. Growing part of the state, for sure.
Yeah, let's just begin there. We're joined by Stuart McWheter, of course, the head of the Department of Economic and Community Development in the Volunteer State. Talk about this area, because I tell you, Stuart, we've seen incredible growth in Southeast Tennessee.
You have, and I think a lot of that is really a reflection of local leadership, to be honest. I mean, that everybody in that region works really well together. Boots on the ground. They work with the community to hear what fits best for the community. They know they're tuned into what the workforce opportunities are, challenges, where they need to spend their energy to skill up a workforce. And, we take a lot of, guidance from the local leadership. And I think part of our job is to listen to what makes the most sense. And I think from the employer side, industry side, they see an area where they can hire a qualified workforce, ability to not only hire, but retain and grow and give opportunities for families and individuals to have a good paying job. So it's a very special part of our state. We've seen a lot of activity. I've been in this role now for almost 3 years, and people ask me what are the bright spots across the state. We have a lot of them, literally across the state. But that part of our state, that region of our state, has seen some great success, and it's just great to be a part of it.
Stuart McWheter is, of course, the head of the Department of Economic and Community Development. Well, Stuart, how is the United States bringing back good-paying, high-performing manufacturing jobs of the future? And, of course, we are a huge manufacturing area here.
We are, and that's one of the great things about our state. We've had just decades of great leadership and leaders both in the governor's office. Obviously, Governor Bill Lee is a businessman and understands this very well, and our legislature has been very supportive of the business community. For, again, decades. It's a function of, low business taxes, low regulatory business requirements, continued focus on workforce and infrastructure, and ultimately high wage jobs. And I think the reason for this renaissance of sorts is, President Trump has emphasized, obviously, the Made in America mantra. And the great news about Tennessee is we've been doing this for a long time, and we're a manufacturing-rich state. And because of the investments we've made over all these many decades, I think we're just well positioned for what, will likely happen as a result of a lot of what the president and the administration is doing right now for manufacturing, for small business. I mean, this week is Small Business Week, so we've, emphasizing a lot of what's going on in our state with regards to small businesses, because they play such a vital role in our economy. And so, what we're seeing is what we say is high-performing manufacturing jobs, and that's a function of these global brands investing heavily in automation, and these are, jobs that pay extremely well. And we want to continue to partner with industry so that we provide them the environment to continue to not only make those investments, but to hire great Tennesseans.
Stuart McWheter is the chair of the Department of Economic and Community Development. I do want to talk about the nuclear industry and that side of the energy picture, which, of course, is very important here in our state.
It is. And, again, we go back to just the state being in a position to harness this nuclear energy, this new nuclear energy renaissance that's taking place. A lot of it is a function of the fact that as we grow as a nation, as we grow as a state, we need to be in a position well, and TVA, who's our power partner here in the state, needs to be positioned well to not only generate but transmit the power needed for this high-scale, high-performing manufacturing that we were just talking about. And so nuclear is a key to that. It's not the only way. And certainly long-term, I think it will be a significant part of how we address power generation in our state. But there's other ways that we get there, whether that's through coal or gas or other sources of alternative energy. But the governor and our legislature really made a commitment a few years ago to invest in the nuclear energy ecosystem and to the supply chain, in large part because of Oak Ridge National Labs and because of TVA and the history, that I think many Tennesseans are aware of about Oak Ridge and the Manhattan Project. And so we as a state and particularly in Oak Ridge as a community, we understand it, embrace it, and we accept it, and we're in a really strong position. Not only do we have the sites, we have a workforce and communities that understand it and see the value in new nuclear. So we're making these investments. We've had success over the last couple of years investing in companies that are coming here. Orano was probably the largest single project announced in our state. They're a uranium enrichment company out of France, and they are building, they're going to spend over $4 billion in a uranium enrichment facility in Oak Ridge, and that's just the beginning of many, many more that will come. And that's what we're trying to do is, again, we're trying to attract the best of class in nuclear, and we're trying to create and really enhance the ecosystem that exists in our state.
We're joined by Stuart McWheter. He is the chairman of the Department of Economic and Community Development. I understand you were just in Taiwan. Tell me about your trip.
Yeah, we went to Taiwan a couple of months ago now, and what a great trip that was. I think part of our purpose of being there was to just meet with government officials and other business leaders, specifically in the, as we think about where we're going as a economy with data and AI and just the rapid speed of what's going on in that particular industry, and not just that industry, but how it's impacting all businesses. No matter what business you're in, you're going to be, you're including and making AI as part of your overall business platform. So we went to ground zero, as I say. Taiwan has a long history of being innovative in the semiconductor space, and so we spent some time visiting with business leaders and government officials, and actually went to one of the science parks there, and just was fascinated with how they have created this. It's really like a Silicon Valley, like is in California, how they've created something so unique there in Taiwan. And we wanted to demonstrate and communicate with them that we're here and we're looking to forge alliances with the business community, and we want them to consider making investments in our state. We have some businesses already in our state from Taiwan, but we're wanting to continue to enhance that relationship. We have had for a couple decades now strong foreign direct investment strategy as part of the state strategy, as part of our department strategy. And we do a lot of work with other Asian countries like Japan and South Korea. But part of this effort was to extend our reach into Taiwan and understand what's going on. And we're really looking forward to what lies ahead with that country.
Stuart McWheter, the Department of Economic and Community Development. I do want to get into just a little bit here about your efforts in communities, but also in rural development, which, of course, we have a major part of our listening audience in those areas.
Yeah, part of our department's focus is, a lot of the big business development efforts and small business development efforts that we have, but we have a significant push into community and rural development. One of the first things Governor Bill Lee did in office when he was, right after he was sworn in, was Executive Order 1, which was to really focus on our rural communities. And our job from our department is how do we continue to support these communities. We have a number of grant programs that we administer that really help these communities that they don't have the resources within their county or city budgets to invest in things like infrastructure, whether it's building a new water line, or whether it's building a new sidewalk or a facade on a building, or whether it's just investing in, again, providing grant opportunities for small businesses that just don't have access to capital. So we have enhanced that. We actually, this last General Assembly approved our budget, and it was one of the largest single line items to rural and community development that we've seen in our department. And what that means is we're just going to continue to make these investments. We've seen population growth in 90 of the 95 counties in our state. So as these counties continue to grow and people are finding Tennessee a great place to live and work and raise a family, we want to make sure that we're providing assistance and support to these communities that really just don't have access to the resources that some of the larger urban areas may have. And I think we've just seen a lot of success there, and we're excited. I think that, again, I go back to how we started the conversation. We listen very closely to the local leaders, the county mayors, the city mayors, the chambers of commerces. They're giving us the feedback of the things they need most, and they're very clued into what the community wants. We don't prescribe what a community should have. They tell us what they need, and we try to respond with that. And our department, and particularly with community rural development, focuses really on that particular aspect of it, and it gives us a true win-win partnership.
Stuart McWheter, just one more question, and one of the big concerns, I think, for probably most of our audience is health care. And cost of health care, the costs are rising. It is truly incredible. What, in your opinion and in your thinking, the future of health care in our state, what do you make of that?
It's a great question, and I think we've got one of the greatest opportunities as a state to lead and continue to talk about rural Tennessee. I think that's probably one of the greatest opportunities we have is how do we address access to care, affordable care, particularly to our rural communities. I think when we talk to businesses that are looking to expand in our state or relocate to our state, there's a whole host of questions that they ask us, but one of those is healthcare. They want to know, if we go to a community, what's the landscape look like from the standpoint of access? And as you likely know, we've had a lot of rural hospitals struggle over the last 10, 20 years. And so I think as a state, particularly Nashville has some of the largest healthcare companies in the world, headquartered right here in Nashville, and we have the brightest people. And I think between access, affordability, and technology, the use of technology, I think is the great opportunity we have to bring those resources together and come back with a plan to enhance what we have. I think if we can accomplish that, I think sky's the limit on a lot of the work that we're doing from an economic development standpoint. It's a big part of what we do as part of our recruiting. It obviously touches lots of other things across our state, particularly as it just relates to, the health condition of the citizens of our state. I know the governor is very focused on it, talks about it, every time we're together. So I think we've got a great opportunity because of the companies and the great minds and the technology that's right here, particularly in Nashville, and we want to make sure that we can expand that knowledge and expertise practically, on the ground across the entire state.
Stuart, I can't thank you enough for your time, and hello to your staff. They've been great to deal with also, and really appreciate our Department of Economic Development Community, and you guys it's been a great relationship here in our part of the state, and I appreciate you calling in this morning.
Thank you, Steve. It was great to talk to you.
All right, Stuart. Thanks again, man. Appreciate it.